Hello, everyone. My name is Nina, and welcome to another episode of the Lion City Wrestling Cult podcast. And today, let's talk wrestling with pro wrestler and supervising coach of MYPW, aka Malaysia Pro Wrestling, Miles Karu. Hi, Miles. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi Nina, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Thanks. How are you today?
I'm doing great today. We had training last night, and this is my first session for like a couple weeks because I was sick for like a couple weeks before that. So
Oh,
body's feeling a little bit more banged up than usual, but besides that, we're okay. Doing good.
okay. Well, I hope that you feel a lot better real soon.
hmm
How's that
Yeah,
like?
yeah.
I mean, like, training and then you're feeling sick. Like, that's tough, right?
Yeah, because like I was sick for about 2 weeks almost, and it was
Mm,
quite tough because I thought at first I was like, this is okay. It's just like a little cold or something. I can still train. I was still going to the gym, but then this was like the first time I missed like a full week of no gym,
mm-hmm,
and then I hadn't been in training like in the ring for 2 weeks,
mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize actually how much of a toll it would take on me having not been in the gym coming back to wrestling training,
Right.
and my legs were actually not feeling in great shape because I have a well documented knee injury, and
Mm.
just in general, I feel more sore as well. So, gym's really important.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially you need to keep up with like how the ring stuff going on, right? So you
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah.
the knee injury. We'll get more into that later
hmm
because I do I think it was you had a big injury last year and then your first match back was this year, right?
yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get back to that. But first, I just wanted to say that I still can't believe that you're 21 years old today. Like this year, I mean. Like I keep
Yeah.
forgetting that. And you're actually, I think you're officially the youngest guest on this podcast so
Oh,
far.
that's a distinct honor, I guess.
So when and how did you get into wrestling in the first place?
Okay, I will probably credit me actually joining wrestling to Robbie Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't know if he knows this because I don't think I've met him properly as a wrestler,
Okay.
but he's the reason I actually found out my PW had wrestling because I was a fan back in high school and all that, and
Uh-huh.
then I was following New Japan Pro Wrestling as well at the time,
Okay.
and then I saw it online that Robbie Eagles is promoting that he's coming to Malaysia to wrestle. I'm like, wait, what? I had no idea, and so that was like literally the first wrestling show I went for. I saw Robbie Eagles wrestle against Eman in the main event, and shortly thereafter, I joined training, and I guess
Oh,
that's where it all started.
nice. Okay, so and then now you're the supervising trainer in MyPW, right? So what
Yes.
what does that mean exactly? What do you do?
Okay, so I'm the head coach of my PW is Carlo Cannon, and then we have Eman, who's also one of our I guess supervising coaches, but he's also kind of like also a bridge between Carlo and us
Mm-hmm.
as well, because he's the one who had the connection to Carlo before he actually became a part of my PW. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's myself and the Wonder Boy, who are the on ground supervising coaches in Malaysia. So basically,
Okay.
everything we do comes from either Eman or Carlo and what they've done in Vicious Pursuit in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and we implement that for our guys. And it also is helpful because Carlo is watching a lot of the stuff we do, and we have online classes with him every week where we're able
Nice.
to talk about whatever we want, really.
Mm-hmm. So you started wrestling. Who was your trainer at the time?
Okay, technically under Malaysia Pro Wrestling, Shaukat was the head trainer, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I really ever learned much from him.
Okay.
Most of the time, uh, I'm not sure if this is the case as well, where it's like, oh, he's teaching through someone else, but Gotham was probably the guy who was taking most of the classes at the time.
Okay.
But that was a very short stint
Mm-hmm.
that ended quite quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I basically say Carlo Cannon is my trainer. He's been my trainer for basically since the start of my career.
Okay. So he has more of like an Australian. I mean, because he's Australian background and all that.
hmm
So the style, I guess, the difference between like maybe under Gotham and then Carlo, was there a huge difference?
Um, it felt like there's a lot of different things. Because I still think under Gotham it was like Shaukat was the one who was giving Gotham what to do, so
Right.
it's mostly Shaukat's coaching.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very different under Carlo because I felt like there were a lot of things that we had a more international exposure in a sense where he's the guy who is literally Landstorm's first graduate from the Landstorm Wrestling Academy,
Yeah.
right? And he has wrestled all over the world, like Canada, America, and just worldwide in general. So he has a very worldwide perspective. He has wrestled against many top wrestlers. He has trained with many top wrestlers. Like the names he could drop is crazy, and like it's mind blowing to me that that's my coach, right?
Right, right.
So it really gives you a different perspective where you learn not just one perspective, but like a whole variety of perspectives. And
Mm-hmm.
what Carlo always tells us as well is he always wants us to challenge what he says, because he says wrestling is like there's a lot of different styles, there's a lot of different ways to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no wrong or right. It's just what do you think makes the most sense, and challenge your ideas, challenge my ideas, and see how we can, I guess, come to the best idea in that sense.
Oh, that's interesting. And already, like, I mean, you started when you a few years ago,
Hmm.
and you've already wrestled not just in Malaysia, you've wrestled in like a few other countries in Southeast Asia, right?
Yeah. I have wrestled in Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam, besides Malaysia so far.
Wow. Okay, so how is the community in Malaysia itself?
In what sense?
Maybe like the fans, how do they receive the whole pro wrestling show experience?
It's interesting because I feel like the Malaysian crowd that we're drawing right now is really we love the crowd that we've been getting post COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's been great because they always make noise, and it feels like they don't get to see live pro wrestling often. So when it does come, they do go all out, and they really want to
Nice.
be involved, and they want to get a part of the show. It's been a challenge for us as well because we were basically coming back from zero, and we're really nervous. We didn't know if we were gonna how it was gonna go when we came back post COVID. But I'm really happy with the way things have gone so far. And I'm hoping that we can just keep building on it because I feel like there's still a long way to go, and we need to try to keep getting more brand awareness out there, getting more people to understand. Oh, we have Malaysian pro wrestling, so like they can come down to the shows and enjoy it as well. Because I feel like that's still a problem that we need to tackle.
Right. Is it a monthly thing for the MyPW shows?
Oh, no, it's not. It's currently we have for this year at least we're on pace to do one, two, three, four shows this year. We had New Breed 2 in March. We had Causeway Jam alongside Grapple Max in June. Then we had
Mm.
Fight Back in August, and we're going
Oh,
towards Champions Quest in November.
okay, okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah,
All right. Okay. I mean, it's just a steady pace, and I think personally, I've been seeing like the steady pace of show announcements on MyPW. So I think
hmm
you keep on that track, it'll be definitely like more work will go out. So really exciting to
yeah, for
see.
sure. Because I feel like the a big problem that we don't want to get fallen into is where we have many things at once, or like we're putting all our eggs into one or two baskets that are very close by, and then we realize, oh no, we can't do anything for the next 7 months, or like we don't have
Yeah.
we don't have the budget for it, we don't have the people for it, we don't have like so we're trying to make sure that there's always something that's happening with my PW. We're not going to be silent. We're not going to go radio silent on you guys anymore, right? This is something that post COVID has been a challenge, but we have kind of got our groove now, and we're
Yeah.
going to try and make it more consistent.
Yeah. So how what about like the people who sign up to be, for the training, like how many people do you think the improvement, I guess, from since the COVID times?
Massive. Basically every single person in my PW that you have not seen before,
Yeah.
like from my PW New Breed. Let's say there's guys like Jack Alexander, guys like
Yeah.
Kaizel, even guys like Jago at Causeway Jam 2023 in Grapple Max as well. Like a lot of the new guys as well, Shawal. I could go on. Like we have a lot of these guys
Yeah.
who are basically products of my PW post COVID and like Carlos online
Mm.
classes in towards our post COVID run. And I think you can see that they're really ticking up their game.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice to see like there's more I guess social media exposure for them. So even if
Mhm.
I don't get to go to the shows in Malaysia, I still get to know them. And you guys
Yeah,
also put up on YouTube and all that. So that's really great.
yeah. That's been another thing that we have to work on. But again, always room for improvement. But we're trying our best to get our social media work where we need to get it to.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean, it's hard to start things from scratch, right? And
Hmm.
everyone, I guess, is still dealing with the whole COVID thing. So you
Hmm.
guys only hold shows in KL right now?
Currently, yes, only in KL.
Okay. So I assume there's plans to maybe one day to like to the rest of Malaysia, perhaps.
It's really tough because that includes like transporting a ring across the country. And so unless it's like something where it really makes sense for us,
Hmm.
it's very tough to do that and provide the same quality that we do in KL. So for the Malaysians out there, I guess we really implore you to come to KL and come for a show at least once, like because it's gonna be very tough for us to go in the state. Obviously, it's not something we're gonna rule out because if it does make sense, and if there's a situation where we have the opportunity to do it, then it's more than on the cards. But it's very tough to make it happen on our own, is what I'm saying.
Right, right. Yeah, that's fair. So, okay, back to you being the supervising trainer. Like, when did that happen, and how did that change for you as a pro wrestler?
Okay, so this all started like when COVID hit. Because once COVID hit, I kind of realized, oh no, like there's no training now. I invested in the home gym. I'm like, okay, it's time to actually get serious about this thing. And Carlo also was like a massive. I attribute a lot of my success and my uh progress to Carlo because he really took me under his wing and like, okay, you're now my main guy in Malaysia. I'm gonna fast track you. I'm gonna like give you all this extra training. I'm gonna be extra hard on you. I'm gonna make sure you're up to speed. And so here we are. That was like 2020. And
Uh-huh.
so he really groomed me for that position. And we started taking um I actually did a couple of the online classes as well. When Carlo couldn't make it, he was like, okay, you run something small. And I had to do that. And then
Wow.
when it came to 2022, early 2022, that's when I started uh, coaching in my PW as well. And like we had to first open up and put COVID restrictions. Oh, you have to take a COVID test and you have to like make sure you're masked up and training. And like it was a lot. But then we got through all that. Myself and the Wonder Boy, we were together. It really helps to have him around as well because if it was just me, it would have been a headache. But he's here helping me now, and so that makes life a lot easier. And we're able to work together on it.
Wow. I mean, at the age of 21 to do that, and are you working or studying right now?
I'm studying right now.
Yeah. So how is that juggling that and like kind of, I guess, running a lot of things in MyPW?
So when I first started, I was 16, I think, uh, and Carlo really, I guess, when I was 17 is when he started to like, okay, this is gonna be your next position. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to pull my pants up. But at the time, I wasn't studying, so it was a lot easier for me. I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna take like some time off from like studies and like not worry about it, see where it goes. I was working for a bit, doing internships and other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I think around between 18 and 20 ish, I want to say, I was kind of just I wasn't studying or working, I don't think. No, 19. Between 19 and 20, I wasn't studying
Okay.
or working. And then earlier this year, I started studying again in March of this year. Oh, April, yeah.
Mm. Okay, so I mean, studying already is a tough thing. So I can't
Yeah.
imagine doing this as well.
Yeah, it's tough because you have to balance your schedules against each other. And it does help because Wonder Boy's in the same position as me. He's 23. He's studying as well, and he's
Wow.
also basically coaching with me. So either we rotate or we try to make sure that we're there together. And then we have to think about like if when we're taking private classes as well, it's extra time we got to take out. We got like, and with studying, the thing is, it's not always a fixed schedule. Like your
Mm,
schedule will change every
yeah,
semester,
yeah,
and you might have other like events popping up and stuff that you
yeah,
have to do where you have to work around that, which makes
yeah.
it tough to go around just the unpredictability of your schedule. So yeah.
And you also travel out of Malaysia to wrestle too
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, there's that as well.
yeah, like in like the one where we mentioned the Grapple Max Causeway Jam. I think
Yeah.
that was your first match back after an injury, right? It was a big one.
Yeah, so Grapple Max Causeway Jam 2024. That was
Yeah.
my first match back post injury.
Yeah, what was the
Uh
injury?
so this was in Thailand when I wrestled for setup.
Okay.
This happened before the match, but I dislocated my knee and I tore my MPFL, which is a ligament that's, let's say this is your knee. Let's say this is your knee. You might have two ligaments here and on this
Mm-hmm.
side to hold it to the sides of your, to
Okay.
kind of keep it in place. So the
Okay.
inner ligament tore, and it's still
Oh
torn
my.
now actually. But it's just
Oh
it's
my
being held
God.
in place by physiotherapy essentially.
How was the recovery for that one?
I was almost certain I had to go in for surgery,
Okay.
and the doctor on the day of the surgery, actually, that was scheduled, he evaluated and said, "You know what? Look, you have a lot of tissue that's really building up, and it's starting the recovery process on its own. So
Oh,
I'm not gonna put you in for surgery now. Go for physiotherapy first, and build yourself back up, and we'll see from there." And then he
okay.
cleared me to wrestle after that for a bit.
Okay, okay. So
Mhm.
how is that dealing with like coming back to do a wrestling match after an injury like that?
It was scary because um now I have to like wrap 5 layers of protection on my knee just to keep it safe.
Yeah.
uh and but it's still I was really thankful that Max gave me the chance and like took a bet on me despite like after having a massive injury like that. They still had the trust in me to wrestle a match against Dave and Ban in like right before the main event as well. So I was like, wow, okay, it's a bit of pressure, but let's go.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, to be honest, like when the Causeway Jam match, like I did kind of sense a little bit of hesitation, like you're being
Hmm.
like trying to like, I guess safer because of, and then when I found out that you were injured, I was like, oh, that makes sense. But then
Hmm.
when you came back to Grapple Max for Dual Destinies,
Hmm.
I think you were really great. Like I think you kind of got back into your whole groove by then, so it was really nice to see you back in your game already.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. But you know what's funny is
What?
I got injured again between both those shows.
Oh my gosh! Like the same knee?
So yeah, the exact same knee and the same dislocation. Just
Oh
the
my
it didn't tear
goodness.
because it was already torn. So
Okay.
thankfully I didn't get the surgery because it was already torn. So
Oh
it
my.
couldn't really get much worse. And this was actually before my PW New Breed 2
Oh
is
my
when it happened.
gosh.
So and then when New Breed 2 happened, Dr. Go attacked me and then all that happened. And but in a sense I was quite injured and then I sneakily was thinking, hey, I'm not gonna see a doctor or a physio about this. I think I know the injury. I think I can self-diagnose this. I'm pretty sure that since it's already torn, it can't get much worse. It doesn't feel the same as last time. So I could kind
Okay.
of tell, okay, there's no tear. It just
Okay.
feels like the dislocation. I'm gonna
Okay.
try and physio it myself based on what I learned last time in physio and get myself back up to where I need to be. And that's what I've done, and I'm basically where I'm at now.
And how are you feeling now?
Uh, Great. Except for I need
Okay.
to go to gym more because I missed a week and missing, and not just missing 1 week. I missed 2 weeks of leg days as well before training again today. So I felt a bit of, sorry, yesterday when I trained. So I felt a bit of like uneasiness in my leg, but
Ah.
I'm gonna train like a monster until setup because I'm working for setup in 2.5 weeks almost. I want to say.
Hmm.
Yes, they have a show on the 28th of September where I'm wrestling Shivam for the Southeast Asian Championship.
Oh
So
wow.
I
Nice.
gotta train like a monster until then,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, I hope you stay safe because I mean,
I
like,
hope so too.
like I know injuries are part of wrestling, but
Hmm.
I mean it can be tough, especially like on the mind. It's a mental game as
Hmm.
well, and you're only 21. So how does that play into how you feel about doing wrestling? Does that discourage
It
you?
is, yeah. I mean, it's tough to say because a part of me was like, oh man, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I can keep going with all these injuries and like if it's gonna keep happening to me like once a year, I get some kind of weird injury. I don't know if I can keep doing this, but like at the same time, it's like the love of the game is too strong sometimes, and so you just want to push through and do the best you can, and I guess reevaluate. You're like, I'll just reevaluate later. Like maybe like if it gets worse, maybe I'll stop, or like or if it's fine, we'll just keep going. We'll reevaluate later. But then like you never reevaluate, you just keep wrestling, and that's how it is.
Okay. All right. So back to the whole dual destinies and Causeway Jam. Like you had two different tag partners for each time. But you
Hmm.
guys but you both like both times you did music videos, right? It was very Joe
No,
Hendry.
I didn't. I didn't do that for Causeway Jam.
Wasn't it?
No, no, no. Causeway Jam was regular entrance, and for
Oh,
Dual
my
Destinies, I
bad.
did the music video. Yeah.
Okay, okay, but it was not your first time. Also, like last year, you did one with Wonder Boy as well, right? Like,
Yeah,
it was.
so with the music video thing, I know you
Yeah,
mentioned Joe Hendry. I didn't
yeah,
know about Joe Hendry until I recorded what I did for SPW with the Wonder Boy as the Juicy Boys. After I recorded that, funny
yeah.
enough, Cornelius Lowe tells me like, "Oh, this is very Joe Hendry." I'm like, "Who's Joe Hendry?" and then and then he's like, "Oh," it's like then he showed me. I was like, "Oh, okay."
So why
This is
why why did you
interesting.
guys make the music video then?
Because we really wanted to go all out for that
Okay,
SPW match against the Horrors, because
okay,
that's a match that we've been really looking forward to as well.
yeah,
We really wanted to do it. We recorded. We wanted to make it like a lot of different like anticipation to the
uh
fight. So like we had us just talking about the Horrors and berating them. We had us making chicken rice and making fun of
yeah,
Singapore when we before we fought the Horrors, and then
yeah,
and then
yeah.
we decided to like sing a song about how Singaporean rent is expensive and that kind of thing. So and that was a very I guess it was very unrefined production wise, because I was like, okay, let me just play some piano and like make it like a very cartoonish type song, and then just sing a very quick 4 lines, and now it's turned into me doing full songs with like full stuff behind it. So yeah.
Do you have music background? Like, how did?
Yes, yes. I'm a
Okay.
pianist, and I also
Okay,
play
okay.
bass, and I play
Mm.
very basic guitar, and I've I guess learned how to sing in the process.
Nice. So will that be like, are you gonna keep up with this whole like making music videos for your wrestling?
I want to try and make it so that every time I wrestle, at least in when it makes sense for like a singles or tag team match, where I will be doing that, which means Shivam's getting one as well in 2.5 weeks.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, looking forward to that. I mean, the one
Mhm.
at the Dual Destinies, that was. I mean, the crowd loved it. Like,
Oh, and I was also being asked like, when are you gonna release it? Are you gonna put this online or whatever? Because
yeah,
I had done the previous one, and I had done one in Vietnam as well, the full song kind of thing, and people wanted to see that go online. I
yeah.
just haven't had the time to edit it and like or work on it. But with the Dual Destinies one, I've gotten the footage and I've started working and editing it, and I think by the time this goes up, I'll probably have put it up. Like I'm either gonna put it up
Nice.
sometime tonight, tomorrow, something like along those lines. So exclusive, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really looking forward to that one. Did you? Was it like a full release of the music video at the Dual Destinies, or was it like part?
uh, it was at the end. It was just like kind of looping the same like chorus over and
Okay,
over
okay.
again. So I was like, you know what? By this point, it's kind of just like the same thing over and over again. So you can just like cut the music or fade it out when you're ready, announce it, and we'll make it. Yeah. So you didn't
Okay.
really not miss anything. So yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, it will still be nice to have it uploaded somewhere, you know.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna upload it on YouTube with the entrance as well, because
Cool.
I feel like it's a bit lazy if I do it without including the entrance, because sometimes I get lazy with the music videos and I'm like, I don't know what to put here in terms of like I don't have enough footage to put here. I don't know what to put here. I'm just gonna put the Juicy Boys logo or the Miles Karu logo. Yeah, just snap it there. Yeah, you can stare at that for 20 seconds. So yeah, I'm gonna do it with the entrance to make it
Cool.
a better product, I guess.
All right, cool. I mean, yeah, that's fair. Okay, so since you didn't know about Joe Hendry, like I guess maybe you can share with like who are your wrestling influences?
Oof, that's a good question. I will say like one of the first people that got me into wrestling was Cody Rhodes. Like this is back in
Oh,
2012 or 13,
okay.
around that time. This is
Mm.
when Cody Rhodes and Goldust were wrestling against the Shield, and they had that little thing. I loved the Shield growing up as well. Uh, that's crazy to think, isn't it? Because like most of the time I hear people talk about this stuff, they're like, "Oh, it's like The Rock, it's like Stone Cold." Like this is a completely different generation. I'm talking
Different,
about the Shield and
yeah.
Cody Rhodes.
I was like, oh my god.
uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so yeah, I think those are like that was the first thing got me into wrestling, was watching Cody Rhodes and
Mm,
Goldust wrestle against the Shield.
okay, I see. So I guess your style would be like more of Cody Rhodes kind of thing.
You could say that. I don't know how to put labels on my style, because I feel like
Okay.
it's very weird because at first I was like, oh, I'm a smaller guy. I'm gonna go high flying. I'm gonna do crazy stuff, whatever. But like, I'm a coward. I hate jumping off the top rope and doing stuff
Really?
like so. Like, so
Okay.
yeah. And then I got a bit bigger and I realized I'm like the tallest guy in my PW, second tallest guy. And that's not saying I'm tall. That's just saying like a lot of our guys are a bit shorter, to be honest. Because I look around and like, for
Southeast
example,
Asian
the
thing.
other yeah, it's probably a Southeast Asian thing because like if any
Right.
internationals come down, they're by far the tallest people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So and so yeah, I've kind of evolved my style. I kind of do more of like a all round kind of thing where I incorporate bits of like and pieces from different places. Like I took a bit of Yave from Angelico watching him, and I took a bit of like
Mm,
Seth Rollins' agility, I guess, and I took a bit of like angles and Taz's suplexes. I love watching Taz for his suplexes.
yeah.
And yeah, I'll just take a bunch from everywhere and like try to mesh it all into my own thing.
Mm. Interesting you mentioned Angelico because I kind of like have this vague connection between his gear and yours. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't know why I suddenly have this mental image, but I mean that's
hmm
cool. I mean he has a pretty cool style, and yeah, I can
Yeah,
see
he's
that
very unique. Yeah,
he
I
is. Yeah.
that's something that caught my eye when he first turned up in AEW. It was like the way he wrestled and moved was very unique, and so I kind of took a liking to that.
Do you see his stuff in Lucha Underground?
Yes, I've watched a bit of his stuff in
Oh
Lucha
my
Underground, but
gosh.
it's completely different to what he did in AEW. And I'm like,
Oh yeah, different. Yeah,
he's really evolved as a wrestler, I guess, in
he's
that
kind
sense
of
as
like a
well.
chameleon. Like he kind of changes where like
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, but he's so smooth. That's what
hmm
I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So all right. So um you were known actually as a different name, right? When you first started out. Like I think it was
hmm
Stick in Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, so was it also a different wrestling style or like what was the character like?
There was no character. No, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I had no part in that at all.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like, come on. If I'm trying to start up my own character, you think I'm gonna call myself Stick Thin? That's like a terrible. Like, who's trying to set themselves up to be a pun of being stick thin? Like, that's a. Oh my god.
Oh, I'm sorry to
Uh,
bring that up.
no, it is what it is. It happens, and it's really shaped me as a person. So I don't really mind that it's happened.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, back then it was a very different time. It was like I didn't know I was gonna be wrestling until the name was put on the poster, and I was told,
Oh.
"Oh yeah, that's you, by the way. Figure your stuff out. You got like 1.5 weeks." I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh, what?"
wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was how I got thrown into wrestling like that, and I was like, "Come on, please! Like I can try a different thing. Can I try something else? Like why is this happening?" And like, but like that fell on deaf ears, and so it is what it
Okay.
is.
I
And
mean, it happens.
I'm just thankful for the stuff that's happened since then because now things have really exploded for me compared to back then.
Okay, so then how do you I guess how did the Miles Karu is that like your real name or is it just for the character?
Karu's my grandfather's name.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's a personal thing to me because the inspiration behind it was around him at first.
Uh-huh.
And Miles is kind of a name that kind of just stuck to me after the pandemic hit. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I like that. Okay, so how when when you wrestle here in Singapore and then you go in like other places like Thailand and all that, like
hmm
how's the experience like to venture out? Like, because I mean, you're still young, you're still trying to, you know, build your career, right, as a pro wrestler.
hmm
So maybe share with like the difference between the Malaysian pro wrestling community and the one in Singapore and whatnot. Like, how has it impacted you?
Firstly, I want to say that I love wrestling overseas. It's amazing that it's wild that I get the opportunities to wrestle for like in Singapore and Thailand and Vietnam and hopefully more soon to come. But I'm really thankful for all the opportunities I'm getting and the ones in the future that are coming soon as well. But my first international experience was in Singapore at Fight Club 3 for Grapple Max. This was
Mm.
in 2022. This was when Wonder Boy and I were part of like a story through the night where we were kind of Lowe's backup, and I got deported twice from Singapore in one night in that show, which is
What do
really
you
funny uh,
like? What
because
happened?
it was like a hardcore Singapore theme show, and they were like Rishi Budrani was part of the show,
Oh,
and
okay.
he was the Singaporean immigration officer who
Ah,
deemed that
okay.
my paperworks were not sufficient, and therefore I got deported once. I somehow found my way back in, and got deported again with the Wonder Boy. Uh, so yeah.
Yeah,
But
I know about this.
that was a great experience. It was a really, this was the show that was headed up by Sam C as well,
Ah, okay,
at
okay,
Grapple
got it.
Max. And again, I love Mr. Sam C. He's amazing human. He helped me a lot and mentored me a
Yeah.
lot when he had no reason to. I was just some kid from Malaysia who just happened to like wrestling and was friends with some of the other Singaporeans, and therefore by proxy knew Sam. And Sam taught me how to like stream on Twitch, and then I basically started doing that for a bit as well with Wonder Boy, and
Mm,
that also helped with my career. And then like I guess moving my career forward, he's an amazing guy, and I thank him for the opportunity as well for going to Singapore in 2022 and doing that. That was like my first experience. Amazing. And
nice.
then I wrestled for the first time at Causeway Jam 2023 for Grapple Max, and then I did SPW Merciless in
Mm,
May 2023. Two very different experiences, but two amazing experiences nonetheless. And it was two different situations as well. One was a tag team match against Aussie alongside Jack Alexander. So I had to like
uh-huh.
work with Jack Alexander, who's like his is his first match as well. So
Oh,
uh working with him on that. And it was great to see him as well from like basically train him up from the ground up. And now
nice.
he's debuting with me in Singapore. Like that's a crazy feeling. And
Yeah.
then going to SPW for Merciless. Oh my, what an experience SPW is. Like, let me tell you, it was so different to Grapple Max because like Grapple Max has uh they have a great respectful fan base, and I
Mm-hmm.
love that. It's been getting a bit wilder since then, but I loved it back then. And then you go to SPW and it's like the crowd is just unhinged. And
Yeah.
uh it's crazy. I had an unreal experience there. Yeah. And then Thailand was completely different as well because
Yeah.
Thailand, the crowd was like very silent at first. They were like, "Oh, I don't
Mm.
know who this guy is." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, this like no one's making any sound for me." And then Wonder Boy comes up next to me, and they're chanting Barbie Boy at him because the gear looks like Barbie gear,
Oh, okay,
and Barbie
okay.
was like a hot topic at the time, right?
Right, right.
And so and then there's Vietnam, who was just, they were electric throughout.
Mm.
That was the biggest crowd I'd wrestled in front of in Vietnam. They had
Oh,
like I think 500 plus for that show that I was at,
wow. Okay, okay.
and it just looked like a sea of people. And this is the first time I did the full music video thing as well with Wonder Boy.
Okay,
And
okay.
after the entrance, the crowd would go like, "Juicy boys, juicy boys!" Like, oh my goodness, this
Wow.
is something. Maybe I gotta keep doing this.
That's amazing. I mean, okay, I've
Yeah.
only been going to shows in Singapore. I just
Mm-hmm.
only heard stories about like how it is in the rest of Southeast Asia. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really nice to hear that kind of reception, like how engaged the audience is
Yeah.
and the different personalities, I guess, of the audiences.
Yeah. It's different everywhere you go, and that's a great challenge. I love it, and I love to wrestle for different audiences because then, as wrestlers as well, it improves you. It makes you think about how to wrestle best, I guess, in each certain environment.
Yeah, I guess so. Do you have plans to wrestle in Australia? I mean, since your head coaches are there.
I was actually meant to go to Australia in 2022, at the end
Oh,
of 2022 for a small like excursion,
uh-huh.
to train at Vicious Pursuit for a bit, hopefully wrestle there for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But plans fell through.
Okay.
Uh, Basically, the Australian government was like, "Hey, you're too young, and like we can't accept your visa, whatever it is they had. Like it's hard to get a
Oh,
visa for Australia, so
I
um,
see.
it is what it is, though. When the cards fall in the right spot,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully that can happen soon.
Right, yeah. So, what other places I guess you do you aspire to dream to wrestle one day?
Oh, you say dream. It's very tough because I mean, obviously you're gonna say, "Oh, you want to work Tokyo Dome, you want to go to like WrestleMania, you want to go to like Wembley or what, all these different like big
Yeah, yeah.
headlining shows that you have." But like for me, I'm trying to look realistically more than
Mm-hmm.
anything first. Like all those things are great to have, but I want
Yeah.
to think of things for me that are more attainable in the short term before I obviously like aspire for the long term. And like on my bucket list right now is Philippines. That's the
Oh,
biggest
okay.
spot in Southeast Asia I have not hit
Yeah.
yet.
Okay.
So I want to
Okay.
hit Philippines, and uh Hong Kong's on the bucket list as well, if that is
Nice.
able if that's able to work. So yeah, HKWF, or like FPW, Puso Wrestling now in Philippines,
Yeah, yeah.
DexCon, wherever it is. Like, I want to hit up all these places, and I want to keep doing the Southeast Asian countries I have done already. Like, I don't know if it's been announced yet, but I'm going to Vietnam again in October,
Okay.
for Brawl Hallows Eve. So
Oh,
going
nice.
to Vietnam for that one, and set up Thailand is next month as well. And this was funny because I thought that after after Fight Back, I was gonna have like nothing going on for the rest of the year until champions,
Uh-huh.
because it's gonna be an easy, we just get to relax and
Okay.
like nope, suddenly you have to go to Thailand and go to Vietnam in the next 2 months before you do that. So like, okay, thing change.
So you just like whatever opportunities come your way, you just grab them and go.
If it
Like,
makes sense, always. Yeah, like yeah, if anything makes sense and it comes my way, I'm like, perfect. Let's go. Let's run with it. And I have to thank a lot of the people around the region as well for actually trusting and believing in me as much as they do. Like, it's wild to me to think that I'm getting these opportunities, and
yeah.
so I just have to be very thankful for the people who are actually giving them to me and like affording me these chances.
Yeah, I mean it's nice. Like as a fan, like seeing how like the Singapore promotions, like having regularly like people from Malaysia, like yourself, Vietnam and Thailand. Like it's so nice to see this kind of camaraderie. Oh my gosh, this kind of
Camaraderie.
yeah, exactly. My tongue. Yeah, this kind of like it's just nice to see how you guys are friends. Like it's so
Yeah,
cool.
I love it. I feel like we've got great relationships with almost everyone around the region.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
uh, we had the Saigon Hunters from Vietnam at Fight Back. We had the Horrors, both of them in like at New Breed 2. We had a host of Grapple Max guys at New Breed 2 as well. Was it? No, sorry, was that New Breed 2? Yes, it was New Breed 2. Yeah, we had Greg and a couple others from Grapple Max as well.
Yeah.
And we have Australian guys coming in all the time. We had Shivam as well at Fight Back. Like, we had Jonathan Johnson for a couple of our shows at the end of last year as well. Um, I love spending time with all these guys from around the region because there's so many different things in common you have with all these people. It's like you guys are
Mm-hmm.
in these obscure countries that wrestling is not really known for, but you all share this one common love for a very obscure thing, and
Yeah.
you guys instantly get to bond over it. So it's an amazing experience to be able to connect with these people in that ways, and I guess share experiences with each other, bond with these people in these ways, and learn from each other as well.
Yeah, love to see it really because I mean I started watching I guess keeping up with Singapore pro wrestling since the beginning, and
Mm-hmm.
I did take a break for a while somewhere before the pandemic, and I only started
Mm-hmm.
watching back like late last year.
Mm-hmm.
So to see it has grown so much, and then new faces popping up, and I'm like, wow, like the Southeast Asian scene is pretty vibrant. It's still alive.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's really
It's a
good.
very unique scene.
It
I'm
is.
very happy that it's the way it is right now.
It is, yeah. And okay, so what are your hopes for like the Malaysian scene and also like for the Southeast Asia scene?
Oof. For the Malaysian scene, I want MyPW to just continue growing the way we are. I want to be able to hit like regular shows and
Mm-hmm.
consistent shows, and I mean, I know monthly is going to be very tough and very probably unsustainable.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could eventually get to a goal of like bi-monthly shows, so like once every
Mm-hmm.
2 months, that would be massive. Um, and if we could just grow our school as well, get a consistent amount of new people coming in, that would be great as well to like continue to grow the new generation of pro wrestlers in Malaysia. And as
Right.
for the scene as a whole, like just the way things are going now, just like it's on the right track. We keep working with each other well. We keep giving each other opportunities to work
Yeah.
overseas and have different crowd exposure, different experiences, and just to see all the scenes growing and thriving, especially with Singapore, because I've been there for the past 3 years now, going
Mm-hmm.
back and watching things change and things grow. So like just for things to continue at the pace it is and keep expanding, keep growing, just more of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, the trainees in MyPW, right? Like what is the age range? I always ask this with all the promotions.
Okay. I think our youngest is probably like around 18,
Okay.
and then it ranges up to probably like mid 30s, late
Okay.
30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Uh,
males, females?
it's predominantly male. We have
Mm-hmm.
some female trainees though.
Nice.
We obviously have Poppy,
Yeah.
and we have a new girl who actually debuted at New Breed 2. Her name's Maury, and she'll be hopefully more involved coming soon. And then Luna also came back at New Breed 2, and we'll
Mm,
see if she plays more of a part with my PW throughout the year.
yeah, nice. I mean, obviously I'm very happy to see female presence. So I
Hmm.
mean it's still not very I guess popular in that sense.
Hmm.
Like we're still kind of
Yeah,
lacking in the female
for
division,
sure.
but it's nice to see that there's still trainees coming in and all that. Yeah.
For sure. I think that's one thing at my PW that we've been trying hard in Malaysia to improve on, because it's not easy for female trainees and female aspiring wrestlers to want to come and start
Mm,
something as crazy as
yeah.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy enough for a guy to want to do it. Imagine how like a girl's feeling like coming to. So we have to think of all kinds of creative ways to try and make our environment better. Maybe try and make it uh, diff- have different ways to the girls, and make them feel a bit more comfortable or more open to giving it a shot. And yeah, it's not easy. We've been trying for a while, different things, throwing things at the wall, seeing what sticks. But hopefully, we can continue to slowly grow the female wrestling scene here as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Okay, so I guess we can go with one last question.
Hmm.
Just to close things up, like you've shared some of your goals personally in your wrestling career. So do you have any others that you want to share?
Oh, like outside of wrestling,
Anything really?
anything. Oh,
Yeah.
that's loaded. I don't really know. I just want to just keep doing
Just
what I'm
go with
doing
it.
and
Hmm.
go with the flow. Keep pushing to like a different level. Yeah, that's all. Just keep getting better at everything I'm doing. I guess like in terms of specific goals in mind, obviously with the wrestling ones, you have the far out ones. But for me, my primary focus now is to, I guess, continue at the level I am. I wanna hit Philippines eventually. I want to hit Hong Kong eventually, and I do want to eventually hit Australia as well, whether that's for a 2 week excursion or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Those are
Yeah.
like three of the short term things, and I guess Taiwan's on that list as well. Yeah,
Mm.
Taiwan's on the list as well. So like
Oh,
we
I
got a
did
few
that.
different
Mm.
places on mine.
There's a Taiwan scene as well. I did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of promotions out in Taiwan there. I
Wow.
think they
Okay.
came down um for Grapple Max's anniversary show last year. I want to say there was a Taiwan presence there, um,
I do
if I
not know.
remember correctly.
Okay. Okay. Oh wow. All right. Nice. Yeah, it's very inspiring to see like the Asian pro wrestling scene is just growing every year.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's no longer just the US, it's no longer just Mexico, Japan. There's everywhere
Hmm.
else, Europe and
It's
all
worldwide. It's
that.
worldwide now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many more opportunities, right? Like you don't have to always aim for the big WWE or AEW or Japan. Like you can just wrestle in like regions like Southeast Asia. Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
cool.
Yeah. I mean, like the more wrestling is, the better it is for the wrestlers and the industry as a whole. So that's all we can hope for as wrestlers.
That's true. That's true. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing all your stories and experiences on the podcast today. It's really cool to get to know you because I think
Hmm.
the times when you were in Grapple Max, like I tried to talk to you after the show, but you were like always busy talking with other people. So I'm like, okay, I'll just wait. And then after
Yeah.
that, just never happened. So I'm glad that you reached out to me as well. So
Hmm.
thank
No,
you.
I really appreciate this chance and the chance to talk to you and have a long chat as well. It's good to talk, and I hope to connect with more of the regions. I guess podcasts as well, and
Yeah.
all these interesting things. It's fun. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, speaking of which, is there like something similar in Malaysia as well? Do they have like wrestling podcasts?
No, not that I'm aware of, at least.
Mm.
Well, at least if there are, they're not very tapped into the regional, like the local scene. So yeah.
Ah, okay, okay. Understandable. All right, cool. So thank you so much, and all the best to you stay safe and get well soon. And all
Thank
the
you so
best
much.
for MyPW and what you do next.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.